Hello everyone, it's Denise. So I'm on here to take you guys with me for my walk again. And I feel God wants me to get on here to tell some of my story. Not all, but some. I'm going to explain some things to you and then tell you stories of what God got me through. And I was dreading doing this video because I have a really bad past. Most of my life has just been chaotic and crazy, right? But I was dreading doing this because I hate going over this stuff from my past because it was really bad, but I know it's going to help someone. People. So, first of all, I had a really rough and abusive upbringing. And so let's start with that. And it was really bad, and I started doing drugs and drinking at a young age. I dropped out of school at a young age. And I got involved with the wrong people at a young age. Home was chaotic with my family. It was really bad. So I hung around with rough people from a young age because that's what was familiar to me. Right? And it wasn't good. And I always believed in God and Jesus, but I never took it serious till years ago, right? And I had slip-ups here and there, but since those slip-ups and really bad stuff happened to me, it made me really realize, I can't be doing this anymore, going back to partying and that, because it takes one moment, guys. It takes one moment for the devil to wreak havoc in your life. And not only that, if you're already being targeted through witchcraft and all that, they'll have a heyday with you if you go back to your filth, your vomit. If you go back to your vomit, your sin, right? They'll have a heyday with it. So, anyway, I don't know where to start with all this. Okay, so, I'm going to be real. God wants me to be real and honest about things. And I didn't want to get on here and be real and honest about things. Anyone who I ended up talking to, I always end up telling my story anyway. But God more or less told me, get on there, tell them the truth. Because there's many people who've went through things that you've went through and who need to hear this. And honestly, it's not about me. It's about bringing people to Jesus. And to encourage people to behave, So if anyone don't like my past, my story, nothing, then you're not meant to be on my channel. Don't follow me. That's just how I look at it, right? Because it's because I'm people are going to judge. And God says it doesn't matter. He told me before, if people can't handle your past, and if people can't handle who you are, they're not meant to be around you. When you're real and honest and raw, and you're real and authentic, and you're no fake, it'll cause the right ones to stay and the wrong ones to fall off, right? So, I'll admit, at a very young age, I was having sex and everything. It was bad. I had issues with my parents, my sisters. It wasn't good. I had addictions, sex addictions, drug, alcohol addictions, food addictions, you name it. And I was in a lot of abusive relationships, and I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't no angel because of my upbringing and everything. There was ways I was abusive too, and it's not good. So, but anyway, where do I start here? There's certain things he wants me to say and not to say. Okay, so let me think here. Okay, so when I started backsliding at one point, right? Because I'm gonna admit, I moved out of my parents' house. The abuse was bad. I moved out, and I ended up in Timmins. And the first time I ever had my own place, I was trying to stay on track with God, but between the heavy-duty witchcraft and being depressed and all this stuff, and this is a good example why you better be careful who you get involved with. Because everyone wears a mask, okay? Everyone wears a mask. Everyone starts off nice at first, but you better be careful who you get involved with. Even if that person's not bad, you don't know who they know and who they think that they can trust, that they can't trust, and it goes on and on and on, right? So, anyway, I was in Timmins. I had heavy-duty witchcraft coming against me, and I was going through a really bad depression. And, I ended up getting involved with the wrong person, and I didn't know he was involved with like the worst of the worst down there. And I'm not judging, because listen, I hung around with rough people all my life because that's what I was familiar to, right? But I wasn't trying to do that anymore. But I ended up giving in, hanging around with this guy. Didn't know he was into drugs and alcohol, which I was involved with before a lot, of the drugs and alcohol. And I didn't know he was in with like the most rough people down there, right? And it was bad, guys. I ended up getting on drugs and alcohol heavy really bad again. I started dating this guy. I didn't know he was a hitman. It was bad. And then the people we were involved with doing drugs with, I didn't know they were involved with gang members. And it was just bad, guys. That was the most, like, I did drugs and alcohol most of my life, but that was the most heavy I ended up on, drugs and alcohol. It was really bad, and it got to the point we were stealing for our drug habit, because, like, some of the girls I knew, they were prostituting themselves and everything for drugs, but I'm not like that. Like, I could not get myself to do it, and I just, I couldn't do it. And I don't judge the girls who did it, because they're messed up, and they need help, right? But I didn't do that. I would rather steal than do that, right? Because that's how bad the drug. I was doing all types of drugs. It was really bad. So it was bad. Like, I was involved with gang members. I was selling drugs. I was stealing. People were stealing from me. Then we were stealing from people. I was collecting for these gang members with other people, booting down doors. It was freaking nuts. It was bad. And so anyway, I'm not going to get into details about it, but I'm just going to give you the gist of all of it. I ended up fleeing to a different part of Canada with my ex. Didn't know he was still in cahoots with this gang. And didn't know they were going to put a hit on me, right? And didn't know they put a tracker on my phone. I had a bad feeling about this guy I was dating. I finally got away from him, ended up, I'm not even going to tell you where it was, but it was someplace in Canada. It was really rough down where it was. It was like the States, I'll just give you that hint. It was like the States where I was in Canada. It was really bad. And I ended up fleeing from that guy. I didn't know they put a tracker on my phone before I left, right? Oh, so anyways, I met this other guy. We were doing drugs together and that. And didn't know there was the tracker on my phone. And this is going to be pretty, it's disturbing, but God wants me to tell the truth. So I'm telling the truth about the story. So let's just get fast forward. I ended up leaving the guy's house with him the one day because we went to go, I don't know, we went to the grocery store and somewhere else. And he was on methadone, right? So we went to the methadone place downtown. In the lineup, there was this guy. I knew he was one of the gang members. I just knew it. And sure enough, we went out the door. They threw us in the car and took us to the place. And I don't know what they did with the guy, but they took him somewhere, okay? This is all I remember, because we were really messed up, right, at the time. But they took him somewhere, and there comes my ex out of the room. And I was horrified, and I knew they're going to gang rape me. They're going to gang rape me. So I said, drug me, I'm scared. They put a needle in my neck, put me out. I was being raped by all of them, but I was drugged. All of a sudden, I woke up on a train with the guy I was with before. And as I woke up, he kept saying to me, you know, they probably gang raped you, hey? You know, they probably gang raped you. I said, what is going on? Where am I? What happened? He says, I came and got you, you know? I came and got you, you know? I said, what do you mean? What happened? What happened? He goes, you don't remember? We went to the place. They got us. I said, yeah, I know, but I don't remember what happened after that. He goes, I don't know. I woke up on the street somewhere, and he goes, one person would tell me where you were, then another person would tell me. And the only thing I could think is, because how would all these people know to tell him where I was in this gang member's house being gang raped? I still, till this day, thinks it was angels. Now listen to this. This is no joke, guys. He said he banged on the door and he said, "Where is she?" And they released me. Guys, I should not have made it out there alive. They had me drugged. They were raping me. And he released me, and that's why he got me on the train to go back to his house. Okay? And now where I was. Okay, before I get further into the story. Oh, I went way too far. I gotta turn around. Before I get further into the story, where I was is the gang members down there, what they do is when they want to murder someone, they'll send like their gang people and they'll go on the train and they'll murder them right before the train stops, okay? And sure enough, I'm coming to, he's telling me all this, and I knew this, like, what is going on? So anyways, he goes, this guy on the train keeps following us. I look to the end of the train, it's my ex. And he looked full-blown demonic. So he was trying to kill me on the train before it stopped because the gang members sent him after me, right? After they released me. So he came and sat beside us, and before he could pull out something, right before the train stopped, I pretended I was going to pull out a knife or something, which I didn't even have. And when the train stopped and I acted like I was going to pull something out at him, he flew, like he ran off the train. He didn't do anything. And everyone on the train that seen it was horrified. So anyways, I ended up getting out of that situation. Okay, I fled for my life. Okay, I got rid of my phone because I realized there was a tracker on it. So the phone wasn't with me anymore. Thank God for that, because I did not know they put a track on my phone. Okay, so that story alone was something I went through. Okay, I should have been dead. I should have ended up in a mental institution after. But because of the hand of God, I'm still here, guys. True story. After that, I was suicidal. Okay, but it wasn't long after that when I moved back home with my parents, right? When my dad was still alive. The way I was feeling is I knew if I didn't cling to God with all that I had, that because I was depressed and suicidal. I felt suicidal, right? I knew if I didn't cling to God with all I had, that I didn't want to end up back on drugs and alcohol again, right? So I don't know who I'm speaking to, and I don't know why God's getting me to get on here to tell you guys, because that was very hard on me and traumatized on what I went through. And but it doesn't matter what you are going through, okay? Guys, in my weakness, when I was living that lifestyle, like that was the worst, I was on drugs and alcohol, okay? When I was living that lifestyle, in my weakness, okay, all I could do was look up to God and say in my head, God help me. I don't know what's going on, but you do. That's all I could say in my weakness, through going through all that stuff with gang members and being on drugs, and he rescued me. I should have made it out of that gang house. They should have killed me, okay? And because I clung to God with all that I had after that, okay, he delivered me from suicide and everything, okay? And I was full, like, guys, I lived a bad lifestyle most of my life. It was bad. Okay, I was bisexual most of my life. I had sex addiction, drug addiction, you name it. It was bad. I hung around, I dated violent people because that was normal to me. Like, it was not good, guys. So, the reason why I feel yes, and I feel God's telling me yes, the reason why I'm getting on here is it doesn't matter what you are going through. Doesn't matter who's after you. God will make a way. Just cling to him with all that you have, okay? And behave. It's not worth it, guys. I was going back and forth. I would go to God, then I would go back to my filth, right? Because the witchcraft was too heavy and all that. Hang on, guys, my phone. It's getting wet. Hang on. Oh, okay? The witchcraft was too heavy, but God kept showing me, you want to keep going back? It doesn't take long, and all hell will break loose. And don't just be getting involved with anyone. Listen, I don't hang around with anyone. Do you know how many people want to hang out with me? Do you know how many guys want to date me? And I'm like, no. Because I'm very careful now who I get involved with, and I make sure I really know if God wants me to or not. Most of the time it's no. You don't even so-called Christians. So-called Christians, you better watch it, guys. You don't know. It takes one wrong move getting involved with one wrong person. And if you're struggling with addictions, if you're struggling with all this kind of stuff, okay, you need to stay away from the people who are doing it. You need to. That's the main thing. You can't be going around people who are doing things like that, okay? And, yeah, like, it was bad. Like, guys, that's the reason why I wanted to get on here, is to tell you that story. Like, if God can rescue me from that and take me from being full-blown demonic on drugs and alcohol and hang around the worst of the worst, okay, and he can get me out of that, he can get you out of that. But you need to cling to him with all that you have, and you need to take it serious. Yes, it's not going to be easy at times. And do you know what helped me? And I'm going to tell you, do you know what got me off the drugs and I got the deliverance and healing I needed? Fasting, guys. Because you know a lot of generational curses are following you. Because you wonder why. Oh, I pray. And then as quick as I pray, these demons are coming back in my dreams and reestablishing covenants with you. Do you know why that is? Because there's curses. That's the root of it. These curses, they need to be broken. Most of the time, you guys need to pray and fast against these generational curses. Okay? And especially if you're being attacked by witchcraft, which most people are nowadays, and a lot of people aren't even aware of it, you need to live a lifestyle of fasting. Okay? And another thing, too, it doesn't matter if it's family, someone you dated, or are dating, or a friend you love dearly, okay? If they're abusive to you or they're into bad things, you need to get away from them. It's not worth it. Do you want to go to hell? I don't want to go to hell. Listen, as much as I've been bad most of my life, I have a big heart. That's one thing I can say about me. But my big heart got me into trouble most of my life. Because I'd be like, oh, I feel bad for them. They got demons. They had a rough upbringing like me. They can't help it. Yeah, but what are you going to do? You could pray for these people, but it's not worth it hanging around these people. They will only drag you down. Trust me. Yes, I get lonely. Okay? Yes, it's not easy at times. But you need to cling to God. Guys, you need to cling to Jesus. I'm telling you, Jesus is all that you need. Okay? And I'm to the point, I don't care, because this is how it's been with me, and I'm going to be honest. I'm like, oh God, there's a lot of godly men that want to be with me, but then they hear about my past and it's, oh, too much for them, right? Or because I'm not perfect, they look down on me. Or because I have a lot of spiritual gifts and like a lot of strong gifts where I know a lot of things, and it scares a lot of people, intimidates a lot of people. But I heard God telling me, I forget how he worded it, but he more or less said, then they're not the right ones for you. If they're going to judge you because of your past, if they don't like who you are as a person, and if they're intimidated by your gifts or they're jealous of you, they're not for you. So don't be scared to tell your story if you know it's going to help others and bring people to Jesus, okay? And that's where I'm at. It's not about the likes. It's not about the followers. It's about bringing people to Jesus. So that's a bit of my story. And I know that was pretty intense, but I felt God wanted me to get on here and tell you guys that. So there'll be stories for a later date at a later time, but it's not the right time yet. So anyways, I love you guys. God bless and stay blessed.